Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is probably every woman's favorite day. It's booty day. We are hitting glutes and calves today, and this is from my 8-week online training program. And today we're doing something a little bit different. On this program, I decided to add in a little bit of plyos. So we are gonna start the day off with a little bit of jumping lunges, and then we're gonna move into our heavier glute movements, a little bit more volume, and then ending with some calves. So for now, we're gonna get warmed up, and we're about to pump it up. Let's go. So notice every time I warm up, I'm not doing static hold stretching. Everything is almost like a soft movement from one side to the next. It should be a warm up, not a stretch. You never want to stretch open your muscles before you work out. You want to stretch them after you work out. All right, so now that we've done some warming up of the joints and the hips and the legs and the muscles, we're gonna do a little bit more warming up because our first movement of the day is going to be a plyo movement. You wanna make sure that you are nice and loose. You don't wanna get in an injury. What I have found in my years that most of my injuries came from plyo explosive movements. So we're gonna do 5 minutes on the stairs, just kind of light, just feel good with it. It'll also help you get that heart rate going and keep the calories burning throughout the rest of the workout. All right, so with jumping lunges, you wanna be super safe, very careful. I cannot be more adamant about that. If you don't feel comfortable immediately landing into the lunge, it's okay for you to land and then lunge down. Everybody's different. You're gonna find your mojo. I just did my first set. I'm out of breath already, and we got 3 more sets to do. So our first weight movement of the day is none other than the hip thrust. Now, I know a lot of you who've been watching me for a while know that I normally am using a hip thruster bench that I get from my coach, Brett Contreras. Now, I wanted to show you girls what it's like and how I use a normal gym without a hip thruster bench. The squat sponge. Now, this is obviously made for squats, but it works perfectly for hip thrusts because of this little indentation right here. Obviously, you know where that goes. And then it is thick enough to where the bar is not gonna hurt, you're not gonna bruise. I got this on Amazon for 20 bucks. I will leave it in the description box below. One of the best advice, okay, I'm gonna redo that. Blah, blah, blah. Find a bench that is already set up and nailed to the ground. It's low enough and it's not gonna slide anywhere. I don't have to maneuver anything anywhere. I just pulled the bar straight off the rack and I set everything else up right beside it. Now, if you don't have one of these benches that's already set up, you can absolutely have a rollaway bench and move it wherever you need. You probably just wanna set it up next to something so that it doesn't slide back. For me, it's been kind of humbling coming back and not using my hip thruster bench because I've actually had to back the weight down quite a bit. It's not always gonna be the same, and that's okay. Make sure that you are using precise form on a hip thrust though. Working with Brett Contreras has taught me a lot about the hip thrust, and it's not a movement that you just flop around. You're gonna end up using other body parts and not your glutes. A couple tips on how to perform the hip thrust and only use your glutes is to be sure to keep your back neutral. A lot of girls, or a lot of people, because men hip thrust too, right Brett? A lot of people will start to arch their back on the way down. So you wanna just pretend like you have a broomstick from like the top of your head down to your butt crack. and it is just keeping you so strict and neutral all the way down and all the way up. And you want to keep your eye gaze forward, not looking up, not looking down, just straight forward. Keep your chin tucked. Keep your chin tucked to your chest. Say that 3 times and squeeze up through the glutes. And you want to almost kind of rotate the hips upwards. All right, we are moving into our next booty movement, which is going to be a dumbbell squat. Today, the focus is on the glutes. So I want you to take your stance where you feel it most in your glutes. For me, I have very wide hips on my own. So the wider I make my legs, the more I start to actually use my adductors in my hip flexors up in the front. For me, I like to keep them about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider, and then I rotate my toes out just a little bit. You do not need to get this duck feet stance, girls. That's just only gonna open your hips up even wider. So you've got to find that happy medium of going out wide enough to hit the glutes and not the quads, but not too far to where it just completely takes the glutes out. Also, there are 2 different ways that you can hold the dumbbell. One of them is an easier way. So if you are just beginning, then I'd like you to hold it like this. But if you are one of my expert girls, then I want you to hold it by the handle, and that's gonna allow you to get a little bit more depth and range of motion in this movement. All right, we are moving on into a little bit of a banded movement. Now, in my guidebook, you ladies will get information on bands that you need, and you know that I prefer the Booty Queen Apparel booty bands. They are the best in my opinion. Not only are they just like totally adorable in color, but they are good. They're not going to snap on you because Amanda Latona knows booty. If anybody knows booty, it's her. There are 3 different resistance. I actually don't have the black one with me because, well, I never really ever use it because it is hard. Now I'm going to just see which one feels best. And honestly, a kickback is a kickback. As long as it's banded and you're feeling it, I want you to do it. So here is one of my favorite movements that I have learned from Brett Contreras, also the Booty Queen or King. All right, so notice I have a band underneath my knee, so that's holding it in place. Now, you need to keep super strict form here. Again, always keep your back neutral. If you are performing the movement and arching, you're not using your glute. If you do keep that spine neutral, it'll allow you to engage the glute a lot more. And I'm pulling up from the knee and the glute, not kicking straight out. And then I'm gonna squeeze it up at the top and then let it back down, not all the way in a complete rest, just to kind of slightly keep that tension on there, and then kick it back out. All right, on to the next movement. We are going to do single leg stiff legs, but we're gonna use a kettlebell. Really and truly, the kettlebell is just much easier to hold on to doing a unilateral movement. And also we are going to be going off of an elevated platform. It's going to allow you to get more stretch at the bottom. It doesn't have to be super high. Trust me guys, there are multiple options in here to get super high. I ain't doing it. I don't wanna fall, I don't wanna bust my butt. I'm also next to something that I can hold on to and stabilize with. I am just using this to stabilize in case I start to get wobbly. This is a single leg movement, so yes, we're not as balanced. All right, final movement of the day. We are going to hit some calves. Now, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, calves are very much genetics. And if you ain't got them, you gonna have to work really, really hard. I don't have them, and I've been working really, really hard, and I still don't have them. But it's still good, just like with anything, to train everything. It's all about a balance. So maybe not necessarily in the way that it appears, but the way that everything works cohesively together within the body. So we are going to do some standing calf raises. When you lower yourself and get that stretch at the bottom, you should be able to fully extend. If the weight hits before you can fully extend your calves, you probably need to lower the machine a bit. Also too, on a standing calf machine, it can get very heavy. Your calves are actually very strong, believe it or not. I mean, they're holding your body weight and walking around on the daily. Now, holding that weight on your back can be very hard. So I want you to just take it down a little bit. Don't go as heavy as you can because you'll start to use your back, or it's just not very good on the spine. So just be aware of that as well. Baby, zip burn. If your booty is not on fire after this day, then you need to slide up in my DMs or comment below and let me know. Ladies, this is a killer glute workout. I hope you enjoyed this. This is on my 8-week online training program. If you are interested or need more information on it, then click the link below. Of course, give this a thumbs up because you know your booty is lit. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next workout.